All right, let's talk about epic music. We're about to go on a quest to uncover the secret history of those massive, goosebump-inducing soundtracks.
You know that exact moment, right? You're in a huge boss fight in a game, or it's the final battle in a movie, and the music just swells up. Choirs and orchestra, the whole thing, and you get actual chills? Well, have you ever wondered where that sound even comes from? The story behind it goes way, way back. Believe it or not, our story starts over 1,000 years ago. And honestly, the best way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like a video game. Music started at level 1 and has been getting these awesome new updates and expansion packs ever since. Okay, let's do this. Let's travel all the way back to the very beginning. You could call it the beta version of epic music. Welcome to level 1, the solo streamer. The first version of this music was called monophonic. Now, that sounds like a fancy word, but it's actually super simple. Mono means one, and phonic means sound. So, one sound. That's it. Imagine your favorite artist performing, but with no band, no auto-tune, no backup singers. Just one single voice carrying the entire song.
And this style was called Gregorian Chant. It was basically the original unplugged acoustic set. The whole point wasn't to create some massive party anthem, but to set a really peaceful, meditative vibe inside these huge old churches.
And the rules for this first level, they were super strict. For starters, it was pretty much always sung by monks. Second, it was always in Latin, so most people listening had no clue what the words meant. And the biggest rule, absolutely no instruments allowed. This was all about the pure human voice telling religious stories.
But you can only play solo for so long, right? So after a few hundred years, music was ready for its first major update. It was time to unlock multiplayer.
This is when composers started to get creative and a little rebellious. They started asking this one simple question that changed everything. Hey, what if we add more voices, singing different notes, but at the exact same time? I know, it sounds so obvious to us now, but back then, whoa, this was a total game changer. And this chart shows the shift perfectly. We went from monophonic, which was basically single-player mode, just one simple melody, to polyphonic. Now that's full-on multiplayer mode. You've got multiple independent melody lines all weaving together, creating something way richer and way more complex. So, who is in charge of these updates? Well, you can think of the church as the game developer. They were the ones setting all the rules, and they decided which new patches, like adding more voices, got approved for the main game.
And once multiplayer mode was unlocked, man, the upgrades just started rolling out fast. This kicked off whole new eras of music, each one adding its own awesome new features to the experience. First up, the Renaissance period focused on making music sound super clear and harmonious. Then the Baroque era crashed onto the scene and was like, let's make this epic, and added tons of drama. And after that, the Classical era came along and kind of cleaned things up, focusing on elegant and balanced structures.
Okay, we have to zoom in on the Baroque era, because this is where things start to sound like a modern soundtrack. You can seriously think of it as the invention of boss battle music. It had massive organs, huge string sections, and powerful brass. Composers like the legendary Bach would write these pieces that went from super quiet to suddenly, bam, incredibly loud. And for the first time, instruments weren't just in the background, they were co-stars of the show. So with all this huge, dramatic music, it couldn't be contained in churches forever. It was getting way too big for the original map. A new arena had to be unlocked. By the time we get to the Romantic era, music was all about big feelings. I mean, huge personal emotions. It got so big, so loud, and so intense that it literally burst out of the church doors and into giant public concert halls that were built just for these performances.
And you can see that shift right here. For centuries, this music was pretty much only heard in one place, a church. But then, boom, it expanded. Music became a public spectacle, something anyone could go and see, not just something you experienced as part of a religious service. And another huge upgrade happened, the language. Composers started ditching Latin and writing music in their local languages, like German, or Italian, or English. This meant the audience could finally understand the story being told in the songs, which made that emotional connection even stronger.
And that brings us to the final level. Or maybe it's more like creative mode, where you can basically throw all the old rules out the window and just build whatever you want.
Today, epic music is like a massive open-world game. Composers can basically mod it however they want. They can pull from over 1,000 years of history and mix it with any modern style they can possibly imagine.
So what does that sound like? Well, a modern epic track might have a traditional choir and a giant organ. right next to a screaming electric guitar and a throbbing synthesizer. You can hear influences from pop, rock, and movie scores all mixed together. And thanks to tech, this music can be shared instantly across the globe. The composer's toolbox is just bigger than it has ever been. So, let's do a quick-fire recap of music's level-up journey. It started with the solo voice. Then came the multiplayer team-up. After that, we got the instrument DLC. That was followed by the emotion engine upgrade. And finally, today's ultimate remix, where anything goes.
So, if you take away just one thing from all this, let it be this. Whether the tech was just adding a second singer or adding a brand new synthesizer, this music has always been about using the newest tools available to create a powerful, epic, and emotional experience for anyone listening. From a single monk chanting in a monastery to the massive soundtracks we hear today, the evolution is just incredible. Which leaves us with one final question to think about. After all these centuries of leveling up, what do you think music's next big update is going to be?